Well, Claire, first of all, before I even show you what it looks like, let me tell you something quick, an update. We just made a run up the road, found out there was apparently a natural gas leak, Pleasant Valley and Raleigh roads, just across Highway 70 from here. We could actually smell the natural gas. The road is blocked off, so I'm going to recommend that people avoid Raleigh and Pleasant Valley roads at all costs. Power lines are down there anyway, trees are down, they're trying to cut them up. It's just a massive mess, so the best thing right now is to stay on Highway 70 or Glenwood Avenue, as many of us here in Raleigh know it. There are some stoplights out right here in front of the shopping center, but for the most part they're working. They have police out there, so that quick update. Now, I'll look at the Kmart store, what used to be there at Town Ridge Square. It's unbelievable. In fact, I'm going to get you to look down right here at this concrete block, and the metal that holds these concrete blocks together just ripped apart as though they were Lego toys or something like that. Unbelievable, just massive destruction here. It looks to me like there's not anything that's salvageable out of the Kmart store. Now, on the far end of Kmart, there is an automotive shop, which does seem to be still somewhat intact, but for the most part, this store is shot. Now we're going to take you right over here and get some of this debris out of my photographer's way. Right around this corner was a radio shooter store, then a shoe shop, a shoe repair shop next to it, and then on down was the Silver Slipper shoe shop. All these buildings wiped out. But now if you'll take one glance around this way, the interesting thing is the other section, L section of the shopping center, is intact. So unbelievably, it ripped apart this end of the shopping center, but not that end. Now we want to show you earlier this morning, the man shooting these pictures right now, Dave Wertheimer, lives in Cooper's Pond Apartments right behind the shopping center. Some of the work was done there. We have some pictures of those apartments, I believe, and exactly what happened there. Dave was able to get out of his apartment just moments after the tornado struck. He managed to get his camera and his gear and go out and get shots of people. Maybe we won't have that tape right now, but at any rate, I can tell you that he had pictures of people actually coming out of the rubble. A couple of buildings there were destroyed, and we understand that one of those fatalities was there. It was a young girl, apparently died in the midst of this tornado. There is the tape. You can see that's Cooper's Pond Apartments. There's people pulled by fire and rescue officials out of the rubble. Unbelievable. These people were awakened to find that their building had come down around them. And it's a real nightmare. I know Dave was telling me earlier it was nothing like he's ever experienced. People said they heard the often mentioned freight train, which we sound that you hear in a tornado situation. That's what everybody said. It sounded like it was raining terribly hard, thunder and lightning, and then all of a sudden that freight train sound came, and you could see what kind of destruction it left behind. I want to mention also it was tough for a lot of the firefighters to get out to people. The closest fire station, which is on Pleasant Valley Road, just a stone's throw from here. Power lines and trees were down in front of it, so that hampered rescue efforts. Again, this caught everybody off guard and by surprise, certainly. Now, one thing I want to emphasize about all this is, again, despite the damage at Cooper's Pond and the death there, this could have been a lot worse here at the Town Ridge Square Shopping Center. It's now the Christmas shopping season. As you know, this Kmart is always a very, very busy store. It could have been packed with. This happened a few hours earlier, so in that sense, we may be very, very fortunate that we haven't lost more life and limb and all of this. Claire, I want to say I live about a mile from here as the crow flies. Last night when I went to bed, it was unseasonably warm and humid, very strange weather. My wife woke me up around 1 a.m. when all this happened this morning and said, listen to the rain. She said it was the hardest rain she'd ever heard in her life. I felt the same way as well, and I'm not surprised when I found out what had happened over here, Claire. Again, a tragedy, but it could have been much, much worse. We'll sort things out later on, and we'll come back to you in a little while.